Okay. Well, that same year, that's when a lot of chaos started to happen in hip hop. The first of which was the Source Awards.
Yes.
When Suge Knight took the stage and said, for all you rappers, who don't want the CEO all up in your videos dancing, come to death row.
Yeah.
And you guys were actually in the audience
Yes.
when this was happening.
Yes.
And this is, Tupac was still in jail at the time. I think he had
Yeah,
already signed a death row,
Pac,
but he wasn't there yet.
No, he was in jail. He was upstate New York then. So I just give the depiction of this. It was just like being in prison and the first time you walked out on the yard to meet everybody. And the reason why I say that is because all of us were so young and full of just testosterone, and all of us trying to represent where we was from. And the second part of it was, this was the first time that all of us saw each other in the flesh. Most of us just had seen each other on BET, and I think that was the first time all of us walked into the room. Because I think the source before that, it wasn't as much success in hip hop. It was still like the older, late 90s, late 80s and 90s. But like when we got there in 95, 96, I think you have so much success with Bad Boy. You have so much success going on in the West, and you have this new emerging success coming from the South. That I think it was just such a gumbo of different personalities and people doing different things, because you had Florida doing their thing at that time. 69 Boys had the biggest crossover smash with Tootsie Roll. You had the things going on with Jay Prince. You had Big Mike being up for Lyricist of the Year, representing the rap a lot. You had Outkast up for Album of the Year. So I think that it was just such a pivotal year that it was the first year that Southern hip hop was kind of like thrust into the spotlight. And like Dre said, we had something to say.
Right, because after Outkast won Best New Rap Group at the Source Awards, and I think people were people booing at that point?
Yeah, they was booing. They was booing us because at that time, I just think we was just so new, and they didn't know exactly where our audience was, because it was just such a East-West Coast situation at that time that I think that people didn't even account the southern part of the United States as being in even the room of hip-hop, because they looked at the southern region as, we got Ghetto Boys over there in Texas, but then Luke Skywalker really runs the southern half of the United States at that time, so his type of rap and what he represented was the strip culture, which is totally our culture, but something that was new to hip-hop. So I don't think that the hip-hop vanguards, they really respected what Luke was doing and what he was bringing to hip-hop. But if you look at it now, 25 years later, hip-hop is kind of like, the strip culture lives in hip-hop house now. It lives in it. It's like, so we're just still waiting on the respect from, the industry itself, because as far as the culture and as far as the records, hey man, we sold records, and hey man, our people loved it.
Yeah, when Andre 3000 took the stage, when people boo, and he's like, the South got something to say, you were right there behind him.
Yes, and that's the reason why, Vlad, we all walked with that chip on our shoulder, because we was in that room together. So being in that room together, it just made us come back home and just say, hey man, we're gonna do the most, we're gonna do as much, the best, and the most far out music that we can do, because we felt like we didn't want to be bottled in that just house of hip hop. We wanted to be much more than that. So, once we came back home and George Clinton started coming and hanging out with us, it just gave us the confidence to be bigger than hip hop. So that's when you started seeing the outfits. That's when you started seeing us doing rock songs and so many things that hip hop wasn't into. We kind of like did it first from our origin.